everyone. Welcome to the 8th session of Asia Venturing, a series of roundtables with roadmaps to the future focusing on the hype and the reality of Asia's supply chain boosted innovation ecosystem, jointly powered by DIGITIMES and Anchor Taiwan. We bring together leading industry luminaries, corporate strategists, experienced investors, and entrepreneurs to expand your network and redefine the possibilities of cross-border innovation. This is Elisa Chiu, founder and CEO of Anchor Taiwan and the host for today's session, where we will explore a few keywords: ecosystem, innovation, partnerships, and investments. How do these buzzwords interact and reinforce each other? Why do we believe that your ecosystem can be the best source of innovation, and how to tap into the GenZ markets? In addition to community-driven product development and transformation, why is it strategically important to set up a CVC, which stands for Corporate Venture Capital, to further boost your growth at a certain stage of your corporate innovation journey? We are thrilled to have Jimmy Sha, CEO of Cooler Master, joining us from the Netherlands to share how they do it. Good afternoon from Taipei and good morning to you, Jimmy. How are you today? And would you like to say hi to our audience?
Good morning, good evening, everyone, the audience here of Asia Venturing. My name is Jimmy Sha. My honor to join here at the Asia Venturing. I'm being the Cooler Master for 17 years until the moment, and I was in the industry continues for almost 30 years. And then in the innovation and inspiring is always my goal to reaching toward my personal career. That I would like to challenge myself to be able to provide the better user experiences for the people. And then I really hope to be part of the people that are able to come as a contributor toward our industry and the communities.
Fantastic. And as far as I know, Cooler Master celebrated your 30th anniversary this year. A lot of people probably knew Cooler Master as a very special computer hardware companies, providing a lot of specialized thermal solutions for global community of fans. How did you move from a hardware manufacturer 30 years ago to now these global brands with cloud gaming and everything?
I would like to put on that in three different portions. One is our culture, and followed by our mission and the platform. Cooler Master is kind of the company are always wanting to be innovative in terms of all the different kind of the aspect, like marketing, product, especially for such kind of the manufacturing capability as well. So, but as a whole, that Cooler Master is actually the maker company, starting from our founder, Roger. He is the person who would like to always challenging about the products. This shouldn't be looked like this. That shouldn't be looked like that. Can I do better? Can I make something better for users? So the maker spirit is came from here, starting from him. And then next to that, the spirit actually gradually to explode into our own organization. So the part of the culture actually is a major part of the culture. For the Cooler Master is the maker spirit as the CM DNA. We call it CM, it's Cooler Master. We would like to face the weakness that we are having. We would like to face the difficulty that we are actually encountering in front of us, and we deal with it. That is the one came from one of the single Bible. There's no best, only better. So we won't give up anything that we should be excellent in terms of especially for the thermal technology. Actually, Cooler Master came from CPU cooler. It was like 4 pieces of the PC system. There's one cooler inside of the PC system back then in the 1990s. And then starting from that, we gradually to providing kind of the thermal solution to our partners or the first tier brand that PC in the PC industry that we are trying to help them in meaning to also helping to the user that how are we able to make the thermal better. So there are a lot of different kind of technology-wise as well as like vehicle-wise that how we're going to calculate. You can imagine that there are bunch of the engineer who are doing like a math that they are actually like a math class. And then they do a lot of theory calculation, etc., and running the simulation just in order to reduce 1 or 2 degrees C inside of the PC computer. So that was fantastic, the period of time that we were trying to do that. End of the day, because of the CPUs getting hotter and hotter, it cannot be just like, okay, we do the better cooler. But however, the entire ambient of the PC system has to be considered as well. So that's why we move into the PC cases. And we were the number one of the brand who were providing the purely 100% aluminum chassis in year of the 2000s, starting from 100% of the aluminum material, then combining with the technology of the thermal PCU cooler, and then to make the thermal management better. But as people all know, PC is not just consist of the cooler and cases. So then our customers one day asking us, hey, why don't you guys doing power supply? Since the power supply are always making noises, and especially because of the fan of the inside, and especially about the thermal issues inside. So that's the reason why the fan has to be spinning on the higher fan speed. So then we also work on the thermal solution inside the power supply. Then by combining together that where the cooler masters as of today, that we are able to provide such kind of the thermal technology.
That's great. And I guess, as your name Cooler suggested, you're really a master on making things cool and controlling the temperature. And as you mentioned, your roots, your legacy as really an innovator with thermal solutions brought you to where you are today. I want to explore a little bit into why thermal solutions are so important today, in addition to for hardcore gamers that needs really, really fast computers. Why does it matter so much in other industries as well? And I guess for our audience, other than the retail side of business, can you also share with us a little bit, because I know that as a fact, you also have a lot of great B2B innovation and great partners around the world as well.
Yeah. In regards to that, since a lot of the electrical parts, or they say the electronics, that it is actually creating heat. And then, so whenever there's electronics, or even though we are riding inside of the chain, the brake also need the thermal solution inside. So because of that, anything related to the electronics or the grinding stuff, that the thermal solution is part of the thing, is that how are we able to reduce the heat? The more heat has been reduced, the better performance is going to become out. So that's why we are trying to doing a lot of different kind of aspect, starting from the PC, then we gradually get into different kind of the territories. For example, that we studying from the PC all the way to telecom, then to data center, and then now is the cloud gaming or cloud computing, that kind of stuff in the server. So for all those are related to the PC. On the other hand, we know that the battery also producing the heat and the generator producing the heat. So then if the heat can be reduced as much as we can, then the performance of its device is going to become better. And that's what we are trying to always focus on, how we are able to reduce the heat and making the devices or the components or even the finished products can be having a better performance.
That's great. So it seems like there's this very important direct correlation between heat and performance. So that's why I think, in addition to PCs on the more B2C or retail side, a lot of other industries, from semiconductor to mobility, anything that has to do with advanced computing, I think will require this type of solutions and technologies to really make things better. We have a lot to unpack and get into. But before that, you mentioned the keywords in your opening, which is maker spirits. Not only do you embrace this maker spirits, this DNA, you also take it above and beyond to really engage with your ecosystem of makers, to bring them and leverage them with ideas for your product developments. Can you share with us in terms of why you think that's important? Because when I came across that, I find that it's very interesting. In the software space, we have this term or this concept in terms of user-generated content. So a lot of us are generating pictures, stories, and so on and so forth online. But in your case, you embody that spirits in the hardware side to engage your makers for your product portfolio. So I would love to invite you to share a little bit of your thoughts and approach around that with us, and how do you do it?
We conducting a lot of different kind of the focus group in order to listen to the communities, and then for the communities that it is what we're trying to keep on to work on as a focus for them. For building the connection with the Gen Z at the moment, like you mentioned just now, that is one of the key importance in for us, because that the Gen Z are actually occupying 2.5 billion population around the world. As you may know, that is equal to about 32 populations. So those Gen Zers, we call that, those Gen Zers are think differently, and then the requirement from them are also quite different, and they think about why I have to always have the same thing like others, or why I have to having the same stuff like others who have on my hand. Can I do something, or can I get something that which is different than others? So that's why we focus on that. And then when we're trying to study about the people who are really wanting to be different, then we found out one thing is that because when they was born, there was massively internet infrastructure has been built already. Not like in our age that we were starting from the modem, or what they are really eager for that is that they would like to get more information from the internet. They would like to get more information and engage with the people, that how am I able to express myself to be a part of the person, to contribute that even a product or service or solution that they are able to be part of them. So those Gen Zers are actually having a lot of ideas, and they have got a lot of the brilliant idea to make the thing better. But one thing is kind of difficult for them is that how are they able to make the thing to be able to producible? On one hand, personality and differentiation about product, that is one thing they would like to contribute into a lot. But however, they are having the difficulty to expand such kind of the product portfolio or getting to the channel for people able to really get it. The Kudu Mesa as a brand for that, we would like to help on that. We would like to really get ideas, and then we also put into our technology, for example, thermal management just now, to be able to help to improving about the original idea and making the thing better, and then to scale it up for the users or the community who are able to get it.
It makes a lot of sense to really engage with this group of passionate users and creators in your community already full of ideas, to really transform those into your products. But then you mentioned a very important point in terms of, okay, there's this great idea, maybe it's possible to manufacture 1 or 10, but how do we actually scale that? I remember seeing this really cool Sneaker X, this computer PC case, and even like with a shape of shark, say for example. What are some of the backstories with those collaborations?
Well, we as a brand, in the past decades, it's about like 13 or 15 years already, we were holding a Cooler Master modding series worldwide. When we call it about a modding, it's modification in terms of the outlook of the product, or in terms of the function from the product. So we're trying to getting a lot of different kind of ideas from the users or our so-called creators, that they have their own core, they have their own ideas about how can make the thing better and very different than others. So that's why we are holding a modding series online to let the people to submit their own ideas, and then to really expressing to the community is that, hey, you know what? This is kind of the cases that you're able to do in a way like that and look the difference. So we have different kinds of the modding. The explanation of the modding cases or modding PC are a various. You can do like just by tapping a very little thing, the different tap or different kind of lighting you put on your PC computer, and that is so-called kind of the lighting. We call that light modding. And then you can also do the thing, start from scratch, starting from your own idea, but you want to be that piece of the art as a PC as well. And then that's where the Sneak X and shots came from. So every single year, when we're holding such kind of we call it CMWS, Cooler Master World Series, Modern Series, it's like the part of how we are able to let all those creators, there's a place for them, and then they are able to express themselves about how that kind of the design and what kind of the creations that they are able to credit creators that they are able to really put into in front of the people, and they then really enjoy that kind of the creations. So we would like to get more and more such kind of the creators join together with us, and then by having all those different kind of the different ideas or different kind of a solution from there, we put our technology into it to help in that about, okay, you know what? It's not just about Outlook. It's not just about look prettier. It's about it is really useful, because when we do the way like that, then you are actually able to reduce the certain degree of the thermal, or you are able to enjoy when you put on a desk. By just look at it, you don't even need to turn on the PC. You're already having the enjoyment of that. And that is one of our mission as well, to making the people having the everyday tech lifestyle impression. We would like to let them having enjoyment.
That's great. It seems like it's a perfect combination where you not only through doing this engage your ecosystem and your communities of creators, but also because we live in an era where we want personalized items. We want to be unique. We want to celebrate our individual taste and preferences. And you sort of like turn that into a source of innovation, which I think is really, really brilliant. And I also noticed that in addition to tapping into your community, you have also been particularly open-minded when it comes to collaborating with other brands and other industries. Can you share with us a little bit in terms of like collaborations you have done with that? Let's say, for example, I recently saw some collaborations with Murata from Japan.
With the Murata, it's kind of a thing. It's about how we are able to leveraging our each other's strengths point, and how are we able to really exchanging the resources that they didn't have or we didn't have. Like I said in the very beginning, that thermal is one of the issues for the components. So they would like to resolve the thermal issues starting from the component-wise. It's not just about when it is becoming the semi-product or being like PCB afterward, then we train to reduce the heat. So what they are really thinking ahead about how we are able to study from that point when the die come out. So we are able to study and reduce the heat. So gradually from the phase 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 100, for example, then the more steps we are able to reduce a little bit heat, and then the more of the performance again going to be contribute toward to its device, etc. When we're looking for example, the power supply, we need a lot of different kind of the passive component inside of the power supply. So we're trying to look for them about how are we able to improve our products, starting from the like I said, difference. So back then, that when we were discussing with the Murata, is that we were trying to seeking for that kind of resources about how we're able to make the component, selecting component better. How do you have any solution about the passive component that we're able to put into the power supply, etc.? Then the thermal management has been touched. When we talk about the thermal, and then hey, you guys are the thermal pro to let this kind of research become more complete in terms of on one hand electronic-wise, and then semiconductor-wise, and on the other hand about the thermal dissipating-wise. So then, end of the day, that's what the news you have seen in on the media is that we are able to managing to produce the world's thinnest vapor chamber. So that is how we work on together. Again, this is kind of how we are able to exchange resources and leveraging strengths each other, and then make the thing more excitement, and then having the better experiences in terms of the product and for the community and users.
So is it correct to say that a lot of time you will look for B2B collaborations with partners that will complement with you so that you can find better solutions, not only for your B2B clients, but also for B2C type of solutions as well?
The starting point is always like, it is not what Coolmess wanted to do. It is about how Coolmess are able to help our customers, regardless about B2B or B2C. When we're talking about the B2C, how we're able to help the users when they are really using the product from Cooler Master, it is able to helping them in terms of the making more fun and then enjoy the product. B2B wise is that how we're able to let our customers who are able to make their money from that kind of the technology. And end of the day, it's not like a Cooler Master wanted to do something and then we make money from our customers. It's about we are thinking a lot, how are we able to let our customers to able to get the benefit from the market and then together with our solution into it. And that is the philosophy always at Cooler Master as the maker spirit that we are talking about.
Love it. And I think before we get into the discussion with your CVC side of activities and initiatives, I want to change gears a little bit. When I was doing research about Cooler Master, I couldn't help but notice that you have a really highly engaged social media following. So when it comes to marketing, there are a lot of very exciting new initiatives, and you have this huge group of fans online. So we'd love to hear your secret when it comes to creating this type of communities online and your marketing strategies.
This is actually related to part of our culture. Besides the maker spirit, one of the part of the culture for us is the localization. The business of what we are doing, okay, in the past is that we are relying a lot about the distributors. So the distributors are actually taking the lead about the market penetration and market activity, etc. Then, however, as a brand, we don't know what's going on there. We don't know what's going on inside of that market. We don't know what kind of the usage is there and then why they love that kind of product. Like we were discussed just now, that whenever we have some ideas came from the community or came from the creator, etc., we like to make the thing better, and then we're trying to create that kind of product into the sophisticated market. Then our distributor say, no, that is not that kind of product we want, because that is not really a good product or suitable product towards the market. So back then, about like 15 years ago, then we spent a lot of time to discuss with the distributor is that, hey, so what about this? We join together with your sales force. We join together with your marketing force to really move on about how the market really like. That's why we decided to put up a lot of different of the sales force inside of each different country, then to create such kind of localization operation. The meaning of the localizing operation is that we would like to get more into the market and understand market better. And then on the other hand, our localizing operation is also comes out with the product marketing and product development. So European doesn't want the same like US guy. And then Asia guy doesn't want to be like the same US guy. So everybody have a different interest in terms of the products. When we are trying to get into the market and to understand better that we having our PM, the product marketing guy, to create a product starting from there, and then to really meet the market needs and the user need in that specific region. Then we're combining them together about, okay, maybe the type A, B, C, type B may be the best fit with the global market. Then in type A, then we just make that thing happen. And then following by the inputs came from all different kind of the, information system. Like we have user feedback system, we got a focus group, like I mentioned just now. We also have our sales force and marketing force that turn back about all the different kind of ideas that we are able to make the thing better by localizing all the different kind of people to let them take the lead. And gradually, because of the social media getting popular, so then we're starting to engage with some of the KOL, they're the key opinion leader. So we are actually getting more further into the market that what the users think about that. So because when you are a businessman or you are the person who are really want to use in the product, that is different. You have different kind of the consideration. So we are engaging a lot of different kind of a KOL and community all the way to the social media we know at the moment like now, then to having those kind of the online activity to grabbing the ideas to let us able to understand better about the market. And that's why we were saying the cooperation of the platform is happening here. Like one of the things is the Case Master series we're holding every year. That is one of the platform. So we are gathering beside the KOL and also the creators into it, then they're then able to contribute about what is exactly the market needs, the user need. Then that was on the online. And then for the offline, then we are actually having a lot of different kind of the fixed event. We join the event to really get in touch with the users. We also need the researchers and distributors to helping us make the thing happen. So that's why we are trying to get information upfront by designing the product and giving the solutions. We let our researcher and distributor able to sell in the product at our best interest, also with their interest to selling to the market, and then make everybody win-win situation.
So back to what you mentioned, I think really that's an embodiment of engaging everyone in your ecosystem, your users, your distributors, marketers, and so on and so forth. I wonder, because I recently saw this really cool purple trucks that had been driving around quite a bit. Is that also your strategy when it comes to go to your consumers, go to your communities, go to your users? We'd love to hear a little bit about the backstory.
We call it a MasterRide. The MasterRide is a truck that's traveling around in the different countries. And we started like 2 years ago in Europe. The reason why we're doing that is that in the very beginning is that because, during the pandemic, that it is not really able to reach to the people. I was making a joke myself is that my hands are actually drinking more alcohol than my stomach during the past 2 years. That's the difficult time for us is about how are we able to really get closer to them, let them to experience about the product we are actually providing. So MasterRide is one of the reasoning that we are trying to get mobility. Okay, and it's kind of the mobility approach. Instead of that, we go to different kind of event, like in Taipei, we have the Computex, we still go there. Computex, CES, we still go there. But the difference is that beside those major events, then how we are able to get the more users or more communities are able to get in touch with us. And then we are able to driving around through the different kind of the country. We're working with some of the schools, right? So we have the channel friend to work with all the schools that when we travel to there, we let them to get on top of the trailer, on top of the truck, to experience about the product we are providing, and then let them really enjoy about the experience. So maybe you are not able to come to the major event, then we come to you, and then we let you enjoy on that, and then to let the people understand the brand of the good message, what we are doing, and what kind of enjoyment, and then bring you into the everyday tech lifestyle. It's enjoyable on your hand.
I thought that's brilliant because especially during the pandemic, make it smaller scale but more mobile, so you can really go to a lot of different places to engage with your fans still. So I thought that's fantastic. The more that I hear you're talking, the more I realize that basically that backbone is all the same. It's about the community. It's about being part of that. It's about finding the right ways to engage them and go to where they are. And I guess if you really embody that, then everything else just sort of follows.
Yeah, we have to be part of the community. We are not like, okay, you are the brand and you are so far away from the community. But when people say we need to be part of the community, that's very easy to say, but not that easy to do. Since you as a brand, you still have your flag on your head, and then how you are able to remove that flag and then really able to open your eyes, open your mind, and then to let the people join together with us and through the different kind of idea generation and then make the thing happen and scale it up and helping them and then to let them really enjoy on that kind of the creations process through our platform.
You mentioned the word platform, and that you really are a platform. And I love how you mentioned to be part of your community. It sounds great, but it's really not easy because as an ecosystem builder, you need to constantly show up. It's a lot about consistency, isn't it? And coming back to that, I think in addition to all of these ecosystem building initiatives that we have covered, 2 years ago, you started your CVC, the corporate venturing team. And can you share with us in terms of why you decided to do that? And I guess, we will drill into the fields that you're interested in, stages, and so on and so forth. But first, I would love to hear about why this was started.
We mentioned just now, right? We trying to cooperate in all different kind of the brand or companies where we are able to exchange the resources or then exchanging the strengths, that how we are able to make the thing as a win-win situation. But on the other hand, there's a lot of things where Cooler doesn't exist yet. But the goal for Cooler becoming the ecosystem brand and moving to the tech lifestyle, then a lot of the areas that we will need to be improved. So yeah, you can build it your own, or you can find a different kind of the talent and then get into the company and then starting from scratch. But however, there are plenty of let's say the startup company. They are already doing so. We are thinking about, okay, there will be a good thing is that if we are able to participate together with them, and then by exchanging the different kind of the strengths. So for example, some of the startups, they have the brilliant ideas, then they really make it happening, but they are lacking of the marketing and channel where the Cooler are able to provide it. But however, Cooler also needs that kind of the capability or the resources in order to reach the tech lifestyle of ecosystem that we are trying to hit. Then that is how we started. So you were asking about what kind of stages while we are actually interested with. It is again various. There's no limitation about which stage we are more preferred, because we are not taking the starting point. Our original thinking is not just about financing funding. Okay, we're just financing into it, and then when they're big, they go for the IPO, then we get the money back, and no, that is not the type of the Cooler Master. That the type of Cooler Master is more like a strategic partnering. That how we are able to partner up together, and then with the same product or services, the direction that we are actually looking on the same, then we will be able to move on. Then that kind of company we are quite interested with. So for example, like just now, we were talking about the platform for the creators. The platform for creators who are able to cooperate together, then they are not feel lonely. Okay, I'm the only one who are creating such kind of stuff, but we are gathering all the different kind of creators through the K-Smart series. And there was what we are doing every year. But now we are going to even further, is that we're trying to create, you can call that kind of like it's similar like the Facebook or Kickstarter. But the difference is that what we are trying to is to let all those creators that we already are working with, there has to have the place for them to join together. We believe that one creator and 100 creators will need 100 creators cooperating together. There will be more brilliant ideas able to provide to our communities. However, we don't have that kind of platform. So that's why we invest in one of the company called One Team. This company are actually helping us to providing that kind of platform for the creators are able to live inside and talk inside, and then they are able to also produce the products through the Cooler Master capability, and then having them to be able to, end of the day, they are able to sell on that kind of the platform. Without the Cooler Master, that is also fine. Again, back to the roots is that we would like to providing our technology with the thermal insight, that for sure, like thermal management to resolving those kind of issues, because that's what we are good at it.
Yeah, so the key point that I'm hearing is that at least at this stage, it's not really about the financial returns. It's almost like an extension of your ecosystem building. So in addition to being a platform for your creators, your consumers, and so on and so forth, now you also want to be a platform for startups and invite entrepreneurs and maybe other partners and co-investors and so on and so forth to come together. And you mentioned one of the examples that you have invested into. Can you share, maybe not specific examples per se, but fields that you are interested in for your strategic focus?
In terms of that, actually what we are interested in the moment are, again, various. But the most of that is like a software, right? Because we are the hardware company. And then the software part is kind of the weakness of the company. And, for example, in order to complete the ecosystem, then the cloud computing and cloud gaming will be one of the areas for us. Then we also invest in one of the company, the cloud gaming platform, that is able to helping us to build up the software part, or there's a content aspect that along with our hardware, and then to providing better experiences for our users in terms of the ecosystem. On the other hand, some of the company we are investing as well is the modding company. That's okay, because again, we would like to having all different kind of the modder come across and they are able to see anything. But there will be also some of the company who are already doing so. Then we would like to having that kind of company to helping Cooler Master and themselves are able to producing more different kind of the personalized product.
So definitely a preference with software teams with that strengths to come together with your hardware expertise. How about like thermal solutions and more like on the hardcore technology side? Is that something of interest as well?
Oh yes, of course. Because again, from the B2B side, although we have our own manufacturing, we have a lot of those patented technology inside, but still, it will be never enough. So for some of B2B, right, so for some wise, that we are also looking at how we are able to do the vertical integration instead of the horizontal. Okay, you can see that for B2C wise, we are more like horizontal integration. We would like to seek for that kind of opportunity. But for the B2B wise, since we are having like more than 60 or 70% of the own know-how inside of it already, but some of them maybe it's kind of like on the component wise, material wise, as well as for the manufacturing wise, and also sort of the application wise, that kind of a company. We would like to also look more into it to see how we're able to having kind of the synergy put in together, and then for our investment into that kind of specific company for that.
Fantastic. So no specific limitations when it comes to stages and probably geographical sort of like locations with the companies, as long as they can bring value for your ecosystem and for your community to continue with your mission. Those will be companies that you're interested in connecting with. Any advice that you want to give them?
I think the advice from us is not really important. I need to say, because it is about how we are able to find out the synergy in between, because that if you didn't talk on that, you will never know, right? But however, what I can trying to express is about the ecosystem is going to be the future application. Let's say that's the way of that, because it's not just relying on the single products anymore, since the internet is getting faster and faster, and then the mobility of the internet are also quite valid at the moment. So then the different kind of devices, when they are connected together, then you will feel about the immersive ways, and that is the combine the ecosystem and immersive experiences that we will try to deliver to the users and our community later on, to really get in touch with the users and let them understand better about the brand, what we are doing. It just actually came from them, then we digest, we remaster it, and then we make it for them.
Make it for them and make it yours. Thank you so much, Jimmy, for being so open to share your experience and also all of this culture and mindsets, approaches, and so on and so forth from Cooler Master. I guess I cannot wait for you to come back to Taipei. You have this really, really cool new headquarters here. So hopefully I'll be able to meet you in person very soon. And thank you so much again for sharing your insights with our ecosystem. Thank you. And stay with us, because I also want to thank all of our audience from around the world. Hopefully, this conversation brings you some ideas on how you can draw inspiration from different industries, other brands, and most importantly, your own users in the ecosystem for innovation. Check back on further event recaps and previous recordings on DIGITIMES and Anchor Taiwan's social media platform, and leave us a like or comment if you like this series. I hope to see you again very soon. Until then, bye-bye.